Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm excited, kind of, slash nervous for this video today. If you couldn't tell from the title, this is my makeup rehab series introduction, as well as going through my makeup inventory with you guys, which I am nervous to share with you guys because let's be real, and I think a lot of us can say this, my makeup collection over the last couple years has gotten way out of control. My makeup spending has gotten out of control, so that is why we're doing a makeup rehab this year, which is just going to be kind of like a low buy, and I will be doing monthly check-ins just to keep myself accountable. And if you guys want to join in, we can all keep each other accountable. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my makeup inventory, kind of like, so I have the number for like how many blushes I own, how many highlighters I own, etc. So I'm going to be sharing my actual number with you guys, and then my goal number to kind of get down to or whatever. And then I'm also going to share with you kind of like my rules of my low buy or like my makeup rehab. So this video was inspired kind of by a lot of people. I know Lauren May Beauty is the first one that I saw do the makeup inventory. I think she did it last year, and then she just recently posted hers for this year as well. So I'll leave her channel and her link down below. I recently saw Kelly Gooch do it, and then the makeup rehab series was inspired by Paige from Thrifty Beauty, who I know or has like mentioned LS in her like makeup rehab series. So there's a lot of us here on YouTube, I think, especially this year, I've noticed kind of just wanting to be more mindful about how we're spending our money, especially in regards to makeup. I know me personally, in the past, it's sort of been a problem where I just want to buy every single new release and I throw so much money away. So while my numbers might seem super high and might be appalling to some of you, it's just kind of the reality of what it is. And then when I share with you kind of my goals for 2019 as far as my spending is concerned, it might still seem really high to some of you, but for me it's like way scaled back and a lot more realistic. So if you guys are interested in seeing my makeup inventory and seeing kind of my rules for my low buy for 2019, then just keep watching. So jumping right into my makeup inventory, I just have a number for you guys. I don't have an actual like retail value of my collection because, let's be honest, that would have taken way too long for me. So I am going to give you guys my number, give you guys my goal number, and then in 6 months, in like June, end of June, I might reassess like where my collection's at and if I have like new goals. But this is kind of what I'm thinking so far. So for primers, I actually was really shocked by this number, and I'm including full size in kind of like travel or deluxe size samples. Not really deluxe size samples, but like travel size. I didn't think I had that many primers, and then when I actually counted, I realized I have 21 primers, which is out of control. But I don't want to, I mean, certainly I'm going to be doing at least one, if not two, declutters throughout the year, but I don't just want to get rid of primers or like be wasteful. So realistically, my goal is to get that down to 15. I definitely have my favorite primers, and I know 15 primers is still a lot, but again, I don't want to be wasteful. If I could get it lower than 15, that would be awesome. And then really my goal for 2020 is just to have a really curated collection and really only have products in my collection that I love, outside of like products that I'm testing and things like that. I definitely have my favorite primers, and there's some in my collection right now that aren't my favorite that I know I've been like pushing to the wayside, but I just want to get through those and get them out of my collection. If I really hate them or if they are expired, I will, well, some of them probably are expired, but if they've gone bad, then I will declutter them. But I know currently I have 2 primers in my project pan. I'm very confident I'll finish those. My goal, I guess, would be to finish like 4 or 5 primers this year, I think. But again, I would just love to see my primer collection go down to at least 15 maximum. For setting sprays, I actually am not embarrassed by this number. I have 7 setting sprays, and that includes like my Mario Badescu spray, that includes my MAC Fix Plus. So I'm comfortable with that number, but I still put goal would be 5. I'm always going to have a MAC Fix Plus on hand. I really like the Catrice spray, so I always want to have that on hand. I'm really loving the Ofra spray right now, so I would always want to have that on hand. Typically I like to have an Urban Decay All-Nighter on hand, which I don't have right now, and then like I would say the 5th one would be one that I'm testing out. So goal would be 5. I don't think I'll have any problem with that. I'm still comfortable with 7 because I always like to have a Mario Badescu spray on hand too, just as like an extra added step of hydration. I always carry one in my purse in case I'm starting to look like dry or flaky throughout the day. But that is where my spray collection is at. Not embarrassed by that number. Now for foundations, I have 31 foundations, which is ridiculous. I know I have quite a few, or I have like probably 3 or 4 where I have multiple in the same shade. So this year I'm going to really try to stop buying backups. I just put for goal for this one 25 because I also really like to test new foundations. So I'd be happy with 25. I'd certainly be happy with like 20. My goal this year will be to use up at least 10 foundations, which I think is totally doable. I have 2 going in my year-long project pan. I have 1 going in my roulette pan collab. So like, for me, foundations aren't that hard to get through, so I'm confident I can get through at least 10. For concealer, I have 14 concealers, which isn't like appalling in my opinion. I know that might be to some of you, but my goal is to get down to 10. I certainly struggle to get through concealers personally, but again, this is another area that I just want to be super curated and really only have concealers in my collection that I absolutely love. Concealers is another one that I feel like I really like to test though. I really like to try new concealers, so it might be a struggle for me to get down to 10, but there's definitely some in my collection that if I still have them in my collection by the end of this year, they're definitely old and I need to just declutter. Goal for me would be to get through 5 concealers this year, I think. I think that's a good goal for me. For powders, I currently have 16, which I was shocked by. That includes pressed and loose. I am not a huge powder girl just because I have drier skin. I don't love to use a powder every single day, but I have 16, which seems like a lot for me, and this is another area of my collection that I feel like could be a lot more curated. So my goal is to get that down to 8 powders. I don't even really like to, like, powder isn't something that like I'm like, oh my god, I want to test every single powder that comes out. So I think 18 or 8 is a good goal for me. I don't know if I'll be able to get through 8 powders this year. I might be able to if I started wearing powder more. For bronzer slash contour, I mixed or combined these two into the same category. I have 20 different bronzers and contours, and I think I talked about this in a recent video. I can't remember which video, but bronzer is really one of those products that you don't need to have 20 bronzers because frankly only a certain amount of shades are really going to, oops, sorry, the light in the back. Only a certain amount of shades are really going to work for you. So I put a goal of 15. I put a goal of 15 because bronzer takes forever to get through. That's another thing, like bronzer takes forever to get through, so I really shouldn't buy any new bronzer this year. My goal would be to only probably bring in 1 or 2 new bronzers this year, if I bring in any, just because, let's be real, if there's a new bronzer release that I get really excited about, I'm gonna be tempted. I haven't tried the Hourglass bronzer and I really want to, so that would be like the one that's super tempting me this year. But goal is to get down to 15 bronzers, and that'll have to happen through some sort of declutter because let's be real, it'd be impossible to get through 5 bronzers in a year. So that'll have to happen through a declutter, and then my goal would be to bring in a maximum of 2 new bronzers this year, but goal is to get down to 15 bronzers. The next category is blush, and I'm honestly super embarrassed by this number, and part of it is because I've gotten quite a few blushes in subscription services and things like that, but I've also purchased a fair amount of blushes. For some reason I love to buy blush, but then I like only use like 5. I have like my 5 favorites that I always use, plus blush takes forever to go through. I just read a comment last night from one of you guys that said it took you 4 years to get through a blush, and I was like, oh geez. And I have 46 blushes in my collection to go through, so I will literally, you know, if products didn't go bad and I tried to get through all of those blushes, it would take me like over 100 years, or like in the 90s. So that is ridiculous. Now, like I said, I don't want to be wasteful and things like that, but my goal would be to get down to, I'd say 30 blushes. And then again, this is another category where I really only like to bring in like 1 or 2 new blushes this year, at least like from like me purchasing. Again, I am subscribed to BoxyCharm, Ipsy, and Allure Beauty Box, and Tribe, and I've gotten blush in like all of those, so part of that is from those subscription services. So getting down to 35, I'm definitely gonna have to declutter, and like even more than like 16, because I'm sure I'll continue to get blushes in those boxes. I just need to be, again, more strict about how I curate my collection, and that's one category that is out of control. Another category that's out of control is highlighter. I have 48 highlighters in my collection. which is literally embarrassing and absurd. But I do love highlights, so I put my goal as I still put my goal to end at 40. I know that's ridiculous, that's insane. No one needs that much highlight. That's literally more highlights than there are in a month. And you take forever to get through highlighters too, but that's my goal. We're just gonna move on from that. Next up I have face palettes, and I couldn't believe this, but I actually have 29 face palettes, which is ridiculous because I don't really reach for face palettes that often. There's like a couple that I really like, but for the most part I don't really reach for face palettes that often. So my goal would be to get down to 15 face palettes, which would literally be cutting my face palette collection in half. But I want to be more cutthroat with my collection and declutters and things like that, as I keep mentioning. So, and then eyeshadow palettes. Oh, I have 77 eyeshadow palettes. Now that includes drugstore and high-end and like my little Wet n Wild ones, and I'm just making excuses. I'm like looking at my eyeshadow palette collection right now. I do have a project going right now, 19 in 2019, which is trying to pan 19 shadows in 2019 out of a bunch of different palettes, and already that is forcing me to like get more use out of eyeshadow palettes that have just been sitting and collecting dust in my collection. So that's great. My goal is to definitely not just fall into my habits of just using like the same 5 palettes over and over again. My goal would be to get that down to 60 by the end of the year, and I also have a goal of only purchasing 5 new palettes throughout all of 2019, which, considering like how much I normally bring in, is like nothing. Like, I swear, like there's been a Sephora VIB sale where I purchased more than 5 palettes. So now that again doesn't include like beauty subscription services, any palettes that I get in those types of things, but as far as like me actually purchasing, my goal is to purchase 5 or less. For brow products, I had 17, which really surprised me. And honestly, for brow products, my goal is 8. I probably could get away with less than that. I like to have a clear brow gel. I like to have my my Essence like microfiber gel. I like to have my ABH brow powder. I figured I would like to keep 1 pomade, and then I just like left it open for like 3 more products. But honestly, like I could probably get away with having 5 brow products. I don't typically like pencils. Now I do want to try and up my brow game a little bit this year, so I want to try some more pencils, but realistically like 8 brow products is still too much. For eyeliners, I actually had 44 eyeliners in my collection. Now that includes gel and pencil, but still, and like liquid. That's still insane, especially because I have like 2 or 3 that I wear on like a day-to-day basis, and then like a couple that I'll like rotate on days that I'm not going to work and I'm doing like a bolder eyeliner look. But 44 is crazy. So my goal is to whittle that down to 25. Now a lot of those, again, I do get a lot of eyeliners, I feel like, in subscription services, a lot of like black pencils, so I really just want to curate it to my favorites and call it good. For eye primers, I have 5 in my collection, and I'm comfortable with this. Even though I normally just use concealer as an eye primer these days, my goal is just to keep that at 5. I don't really see myself purchasing any more eye primers. I have my Milani one, which I really like, and then I have my Too Faced Shadow Insurance, which is great, and then I have like the NYX Glitter Glue, which I love, and I have a MAC Painterly Paint Pot. I forget what my 5th one is, but that's good for me. For mascara right now, I have 28 in my collection. Again, that includes a lot of like minis, and that's a lot of things that I've been getting in subscription services, but I don't wear lashes. So I think last year, and this was only for like an 8-month span, I used at least like 12 to 13 mascaras because I like to layer my mascaras. I like to go in with like a mascara cocktail, and I'm usually using at least 2, if not 3 mascaras like every time I do my mascara. So my goal is to get my mascara collection down to 15. I usually don't even like, I haven't bought a mascara with the exception of like the Essence. Even the Essence one, I haven't purchased a mascara probably in like 4 or 5 months. So I just really get a lot of mascaras in subscription services. Oh yeah, eyeshadow singles and liquid shadows, I combine these in the same category. I have 93, but that does include like my single shot, like Makeup Geek shadows. That includes like my ColourPop, and that includes like my Stila Glitter and Glows and things like that. So I have 93, which is crazy. That's a lot. My goal is to get down to 70. I do like to have quite a few single shadows, although my Makeup Geek ones are probably kind of on their last leg as far as like expiration. Not that I really care. But my goal is to get that down to 70. I know like the ColourPop Super Shock shadows aren't my favorite by any means, so I probably could declutter most of those out of my collection. I have quite a few really old MAC single shadows still, like we're talking like probably 4 or 5 years that I should just declutter now. So goal is to get down to 70, if not less than that, and not to bring in many single shadows. I have not jumped on the single shadow bandwagon yet. I feel like that was gaining popularity last year, but for me personally, I like my eyeshadow palettes, so that's where I'm at with that. And then for lip products, I honestly like was too embarrassed to count the exact number, and it would take me forever and I just didn't want to, but I have over 200 lip products when you consider Bullet, my mini collection, my liquid lipstick collection and lip glosses, and like balms and things like that. So my goal this year, and this is a lofty goal, super lofty goal, but my goal is to get my lip product collection under 50. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I get a ton of lip products, I feel like, and subscription service as well. And then in the past I bought a lot of like the mini kits that come with like 4 or 5 minis, so I just have so many, and I have like my go-tos for like gloss, liquid lipstick, and bullets, and I just need to like whittle that down to like my top 15 in each, and that's even like a ton. My gosh, I'm a hot mess here. That's even high in my opinion, but my goal is to get to under 50 lip products. We'll see if I can do it. That's gonna be like a huge declutter. And like I just decluttered 80 plus lip products probably like 3-4 months ago, so it's just out of control. I think I missed lip liners. I currently have 20 lip liners in my collection. I don't wear lip liner that often, but my goal would just be to kind of keep that where it is, maybe whittle it down to like 15. I really should come up with a better goal for that, especially since I literally never wear lip liner. Maybe my goal should just be to wear lip liner more often, but I'm at 20 lip liners. So now that we've kind of talked about my makeup inventory, my goals for each number, I just have a couple more goals, and then we'll talk about like the low buy rules. So my goals are to not increase inventory numbers in any category. My goal at the end of 2019 is to have the numbers that to have my inventory numbers be less than the numbers that I just shared with you. Like I said, my goal is to purchase a maximum of 5 palettes, a maximum of 2 bronzers, and a maximum of 2 blushes. And then my goal is to use up at least $1,200 value worth of makeup products by the end of the year. My goal would be realistically to use up more than I spend. However, I'm about to get into my low buy rules, which really my only low buy rule is to spend a maximum of $1,500 this year, which comes down to about $125 per month. I'm going to be doing monthly check-ins with you guys where I share my makeup empties for the month. I'm going to share anything that I purchased for the month. I'm also going to share products that are tempting me, and then I was thinking it would be fun just to kind of do like some sort of like interactive type of thing where like I give like a list of like 3, 4, 5 products that have been tempting me and let you guys vote on like the product that you think would be like the top one that I should bring into my collection. Now that's not to say I'm going to go out and purchase it right away, but if I do go out and make purchases, I don't know, I just thought that would be like a fun way to like do something interactive. But yeah, so my goal for this low buy is going to be to spend $1,500 or less this year. I'm not going to contain it to like $125 each month and then like if I only spend 20, like lose the other 105. I'm just gonna have it be like rolling throughout the entire year. So $1,500 total or less. And then on top of that, all those other goals that I shared with you guys. Yeah, I think that is all I have. I think that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know some, if not all, of the numbers that I shared with you were probably very appalling, but it's just the reality of what it is, and I thought it would be super fun to just kind of take you guys with me along on this journey of hopefully spending less this year, curating my collection a little bit more, and just being a more mindful consumer. I'm sure we could all benefit from being a more mindful consumer, and I'm hoping that this just teaches me to be, again, a more mindful consumer, not only in like makeup, but also just in all other realms and aspects of my life, so that hopefully I can save a ton of money and spend that on like traveling or family activities or just something other than like clutter that sits around. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are excited about my makeup rehab series. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.